The squirrel is one of the most agile, alert, and curious animals in the natural world. From dense forests to bustling cities, the squirrel has adapted to countless environments. With hundreds of species across the globe, the squirrel comes in various shapes, colors, and behaviors. Today, we explore 12 of the most fascinating types of squirrels found across different continents. Each squirrel species has unique traits that make the squirrel a marvel of nature. The eastern gray squirrel is native to North America and is highly adaptive in both forests and urban areas. The eastern gray squirrel has a thick gray coat, white underbelly, and a long bushy tail. The eastern gray squirrel uses strong limbs and sharp claws to climb trees with ease. The red squirrel is smaller and more territorial than the gray squirrel. The red squirrel is known for its reddish-brown fur and tufted ears. The red squirrel prefers coniferous forests and feeds mostly on pine seeds. The red squirrel defends feeding areas from other red squirrels with aggressive behavior. The fox squirrel is the largest tree squirrel native to North America. The fox squirrel has a reddish-orange coat, resembling a fox, hence the name. The fox squirrel inhabits open woodlands and prefers areas with oak and hickory trees. The fox squirrel uses keen eyesight and sharp memory to locate buried food. The fox squirrel is an excellent jumper and can leap long distances between trees. The Indian Giant Squirrel is one of the most colorful and largest squirrels in the world. The Indian Giant Squirrel displays shades of maroon, purple, orange, and black on its fur. The Indian Giant Squirrel lives in the dense forests of India's Western Ghats. The Indian Giant Squirrel can leap over 6 meters between trees. The Indian Giant Squirrel plays an important role in seed dispersal in the forest ecosystem. The Northern Flying Squirrel uses a membrane called the patagium to glide between trees. The Northern Flying Squirrel is active during the night and rests in tree cavities during the day. The Northern Flying Squirrel feeds on fungi, lichen, and tree sap. The Northern Flying Squirrel communicates using high-pitched squeaks in the dark. The Southern Flying Squirrel is smaller than the northern species but glides even more efficiently. The Southern Flying Squirrel lives in deciduous forests of the southeastern United States. The Southern Flying Squirrel nests in tree hollows or birdhouses during colder seasons. The Southern Flying Squirrel has large eyes that help the squirrel see in the dark. The Japanese Dwarf Flying Squirrel is an adorable species found in Japan's forests. The Japanese Dwarf Flying Squirrel has large round eyes and a fluffy tail. The Japanese Dwarf Flying Squirrel glides from tree to tree in search of fruits and seeds. The Japanese Dwarf Flying Squirrel lives in tree cavities in coniferous forests. The Siberian Flying Squirrel is the only flying squirrel species found in Europe. The Siberian Flying Squirrel has a pale gray body and a distinctive gliding membrane. The Siberian Flying Squirrel inhabits boreal forests in Finland, Russia, and parts of Asia. The Siberian Flying Squirrel feeds on buds, leaves, berries, and bark. The Siberian Flying Squirrel is listed as near threatened due to habitat fragmentation. The California Ground Squirrel lives in burrows rather than trees. The California Ground Squirrel is commonly found in grasslands, meadows, and open areas. The California Ground Squirrel has a speckled coat with a bushy tail. The California Ground Squirrel hibernates during winter in colder regions. The California Ground Squirrel has adapted well to urban environments and road edges. The Arctic Ground Squirrel survives some of the coldest temperatures on Earth. The Arctic Ground Squirrel lives in tundra regions of Alaska, Canada, and Siberia. The Arctic Ground Squirrel enters a state of true hibernation during winter. The Arctic Ground Squirrel lowers its body temperature to near freezing to conserve energy. The Arctic Ground Squirrel emerges in spring to feed and reproduce quickly before winter returns. The Indian Palm Squirrel is a small striped squirrel native to the Indian subcontinent. The Indian Palm Squirrel has 3 white stripes running down its back. The Indian Palm Squirrel is commonly seen in temples, parks, and gardens. The Indian Palm Squirrel has adapted well to urban life and human presence. The Prevost squirrel is one of the most colorful squirrels in Southeast Asia. The Prevost squirrel has a black back, white sides, and a reddish-brown belly. The Prevost squirrel lives in tropical forests and feeds on fruits, nuts, and insects. The Prevost squirrel is arboreal and rarely comes down to the forest floor. The Prevost squirrel is known for its bright appearance and shy behavior. Each squirrel species adds a unique chapter to the story of survival and adaptation. From the skies to the forest floor, the squirrel is a symbol of agility, intelligence, and natural wonder.